On August 19, 2025, the U.S. Food and Drug Administration issued an urgent and unprecedented warning. Certain batches of frozen raw shrimp, including some sold under the Great Value brand, may be contaminated with cesium-137, a radioactive isotope. This announcement sent ripples of concern across the nation as consumers scrambled to understand the risks and what it meant for their families' safety. Unlike the typical recalls we hear about, usually for bacteria like Salmonella or Listeria, this was about radiation, an invisible and unsettling threat. Cesium-137 is not something most people expect to find in their food, and its presence raised immediate questions about how it got there and what the long-term effects could be. The FDA emphasized that, although the detected radiation levels were not considered immediately dangerous to health, the recall was a proactive and precautionary measure. Their goal was to prevent any potential risk, no matter how small, from reaching American dinner tables. News of the contamination quickly spread, causing anxiety in households and sparking conversations in grocery store aisles. Many families began to question the safety of not just shrimp, but other imported foods as well. Retailers responded swiftly, pulling affected shrimp products from shelves while consumers at home checked their freezers for the recalled lot numbers, unsure if their recent purchases were safe to eat. The incident exposed the vulnerabilities of our global food supply chain. It highlighted how a problem originating thousands of miles away, perhaps at a seafood processing plant or during shipping, can quickly impact what ends up on American plates. The FDA's rapid response underscored the critical importance of rigorous inspection, testing, and oversight in keeping our food safe. Their actions reassured the public that, even in the face of unexpected threats, there are systems in place to protect consumers. Ultimately, this event served as a stark reminder of just how complex and fragile our modern food system really is. It prompted many to reflect on where their food comes from and the unseen challenges involved in keeping it safe for everyone. The FDA moved swiftly when the contaminated shrimp was discovered, launching a comprehensive investigation to trace its origins. Their efforts led them across international supply chains, examining every link from the U.S. back to the source. The trail pointed directly to Bahari Makmur Sejati, or BMS Foods, a major seafood supplier based in Indonesia. This facility is responsible for processing and exporting large quantities of shrimp to the United States and other countries. By publicly naming the supplier, the FDA sent a strong and unmistakable message. U.S. food safety standards are strict, and violations will not be tolerated. The announcement made headlines, putting international suppliers on alert. The detection of cesium-137, a radioactive isotope, indicated a serious breakdown in safety protocols, possibly due to contaminated water sources, tainted feed, or lapses during processing. This raised urgent questions about the facility's quality controls. In response, the FDA placed BMS Foods on Import Alert 9947, effectively blocking all future shrimp shipments from entering the U.S. until the company could demonstrate that the contamination issue had been fully resolved. This decisive move was designed to protect American consumers from potential health risks, while also sending a clear signal to international suppliers about the importance of rigorous food safety practices. Indonesia, as one of the world's largest shrimp exporters, now finds itself under intense scrutiny. The country must work closely with the FDA and other global partners to restore confidence in its seafood exports and ensure that such lapses do not happen again. This incident highlights how a single company's failure can have far-reaching consequences, threatening the reputation and economic stability of an entire nation's export industry. Now, both the United States and Indonesia are working together, conducting joint investigations and sharing expertise to identify the root cause and prevent future contamination events. With the world's attention focused on Indonesia, the country faces a critical test. Can its food safety systems rise to meet international standards and reassure global consumers that its seafood is safe? The recall focused on Walmart's Great Value raw frozen shrimp sold in 1-pound bags. The affected shrimp reached at least 13 states, making the recall widespread. Walmart and the FDA published specific lot numbers 11242025, 11252025, and 11262025, so consumers could identify the risky products. Customers were urged to check their freezers and discard any matching packages. Because the shrimp was sold raw, there was also a risk of cross-contamination in home kitchens. The FDA advised thorough cleaning of any surfaces or utensils that touched the shrimp. This recall wasn't just about the shrimp, it was about stopping the spread of an invisible contaminant in American homes. Clear communication and detailed instructions helped consumers take control of their safety. The cesium-137 wasn't discovered because someone got sick. It was caught by routine border inspections. Customs and Border Protection officers, using radiation detectors, flagged suspicious shrimp shipments at several U.S. ports. The FDA was alerted and quickly tested the products, confirming the presence of cesium-137. Contaminated containers were never released into U.S. commerce. The recall of products already in stores was a precaution, since earlier shipments hadn't been tested for radiation. This incident proved the value of proactive, technology-driven inspections at our borders. Without these checks, contaminated shrimp could have quietly entered the food supply. The collaboration between CBP and the FDA was crucial in stopping a hidden threat. Food safety isn't just about reacting to outbreaks, it's about catching problems before they reach our plates. Vigilance and science made all the difference. Cesium-137 is a radioactive byproduct of nuclear activity, not something you expect in your food. It can't be seen, smelled, or tasted, and it lingers in the environment for decades due to its 30-year half-life. In water, it accumulates in fish and shellfish, entering the food chain. Regulatory agencies set strict action levels for radionuclides in food, aiming to keep exposure as low as possible. In this case, the detected cesium-137 was below the FDA's intervention level, but any presence triggered a recall. The recall was a precaution, not a response to acute toxicity. The FDA's approach: keep the food supply as free from radioactive contaminants as possible. Even low-level findings demand action to maintain public trust and safety. The word radioactive sparks fear, conjuring images of danger and disaster, but the real risk from cesium-137 in food is not about sudden illness or immediate harm. Instead, it's a subtle, long-term threat that can quietly build up over time, often going unnoticed until it's too late. When we eat contaminated food, the body absorbs cesium-137 just as it would potassium, a vital nutrient. This radioactive element is distributed throughout our soft tissues, especially muscles, where it emits low levels of radiation. Over time, this radiation can damage DNA, increasing the risk of mutations and health problems. The main concern isn't a dramatic, immediate effect, but rather a small, increased risk of cancer that comes from repeated or prolonged exposure. Even low doses, if experienced over months or years, can add up and potentially lead to serious health consequences. The FDA determined that the contamination level in the shrimp was far too low to cause acute illness or immediate symptoms. However, food safety experts follow the ALARA principle, as low as reasonably achievable, because even small, unnecessary exposures to artificial radiation should be minimized whenever possible. While we all encounter background radiation every day from natural sources like the sun and soil, contamination in food is different. It's preventable. And that's why it's taken so seriously by health authorities and regulators. The recall wasn't about causing panic or alarm. Instead, it was a proactive step to prevent a persistent artificial source of risk from entering the American diet and accumulating in our bodies over time. Even a tiny risk, if it can be avoided, is worth addressing. Taking action now helps protect not just individuals, but entire communities from potential long-term harm. That's why regulators and scientists work together to keep cumulative exposures as low as possible, constantly monitoring and updating safety standards as new information emerges. Ultimately, the entire system is designed to protect public health for the long haul, ensuring that our food remains safe and our communities stay healthy for generations to come. The FDA moved fast. Public warnings, import bans, and a widening investigation into all BMS Foods shrimp. Walmart, at the center of the recall, pulled affected products from shelves in all 13 states. Both the FDA and Walmart ensured the contaminated shrimp was properly disposed of, not resold or repurposed. The recall's success depended on this rapid, coordinated response. Investigators are now reviewing earlier shipments to ensure no contaminated products remain in circulation. The partnership between regulators and retailers is the backbone of food safety. When threats emerge, decisive action is the only option. If you bought great value raw frozen shrimp, check the lot numbers 11242025, 11252025, or 11262025. If you have a match, or if you're unsure, don't eat it. Throw it away in a sealed bag to prevent accidental consumption. Don't return it to the store unless instructed. The priority is safe disposal. Clean any surfaces or utensils that touch the shrimp, and wash your hands thoroughly. If you already ate the shrimp, remember, the FDA says the risk is very low and not expected to cause immediate illness. The main concern is a small long-term increase in cancer risk from repeated exposure. For peace of mind, consult your healthcare provider if you have concerns. Simple steps can protect you and your family. This recall is a wake-up call for the global food system. The FDA and Indonesian authorities are investigating how cesium-137 entered the shrimp supply, whether through water, feed, or processing. The incident will likely lead to stricter testing and oversight, both in the U.S. and abroad. Exporters now know that access to American markets depends on meeting tough safety standards. For consumers, the event highlights the importance of staying informed and checking product labels. The system worked. A hidden threat was found and contained before it could cause harm. Lessons learned here will shape future food safety protocols. In a globalized world, vigilance is the price of a safe dinner table.